It's time to create a profitable, scalable, and sustainable studio for yourself and your students. Welcome to Dance Studio Empire. I'm Jen, dance studio owner for 30 years, running multiple locations with over 1,000 students, dance business coach turned mastermind mentor for dance studio owners, creatives, and leaders like you. I know you're committed to growing your studio and creating the time and financial freedom you most want, while also being the best in the industry with a reputation to match. I've coached hundreds of studio owners who have grown to 250, 500, and over 1,000 students using my signature studio scaled method. And in this podcast, I'll give you the clarity, strategy, and CEO mindset to help you do the same. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am really excited to introduce today's guest to us, Sally Prendergast from SP Digital Marketing. I'm so grateful for you giving us your time today. I know how busy you are. I think every studio owner can relate to the pressures and the just the time that we need to spend with our marketing. And so we're just really grateful for people and happy for people to give us any type of support and advice. So thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
Now, I'd love starting the conversation with your journey. So from you as a dancer learning to dance, through the studios that you went through, anything you remember, the feelings, the challenges that you had, would you be happy to share your story with us?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. As I think about that, I can remember the moment where I went, yeah, dance is for me. It was introduced to me in primary school, actually. A local dance studio brought dance classes into my primary school. And I started dancing there, and then that was a feeder into their studio. So a smart marketing strategy back then that I think still works today. But
Sure.
I went into the studio and struggled a little bit with the size of classes. So whilst we had quite a small little class in my primary school, when I moved into the studio space, I felt really overwhelmed by the amount of people. I remember the teacher pulling me aside, just literally giving me a big cuddle and saying it's okay. And it was in that moment where I went, oh, I like it here. It's just the connection straight away. And it felt like family very quickly. So I think that feeling really resonated with me. And then as I got more comfortable, that feeling to express that freedom to be creative and to express yourself in dance is a feeling that I've not been able to replicate in anything else. So that was kind of my love of dance where that was formed. And that was in Melbourne. So I'm from Melbourne originally.
Mm-hmm.
And then went through dance and was always a teacher. So I was always the teacher's helper, and then was always a student teacher. And then at 14 was teaching classes by myself. And I was always that person, always choreographing in my bedroom, So that was my journey into teaching. And then I went to Box Hill TAFE to do the dance teachers course there back in the day, which just feels like so long ago now. But that's where I kind of got my foundations in teaching, my kind of strong educational foundations, and then landed on a studio opportunity. And this is going to make you laugh. So I bought a studio. I didn't open my own to start with. I bought one for, I think it was $3,500 I bought the studio for, which was a gorgeous little studio, 50 kids, run out of a scout hall. But the beautiful thing with that studio is it grew to a 3-campus studio. So one in Melbourne, 2 in regional Victoria, 1,200 students, over 30 staff. Like it exploded, but in a time when studios could. So it was just before social media was a thing. We were still doing newspaper ads at the start of every year. We were still doing letterbox drops on the regular.
Yeah.
And that was my first big studio. Then I sold, and because I was moving, and I moved states and went to Queensland for a while, then went to Sydney for a while, worked in wholesale dance costumes for a while, and then landed back in remote regional Queensland and opened a studio there. that I just loved. And after everything that I'd learned in the dance industry, this studio was all about creating love of dance in my students. And from owning wholesale dance costume companies, which is where I really got my feel for social media and the power it can bring, I brought that into this studio business and was able to skyrocket it really, really quickly. Then COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yep.
Which, so I was at an age, mid-40s, where I was like, do I want to do this to my body on the regular? Do I really want to be teaching 6 days a week in comp season, 7 days a week? As much as I love it, really, do I want to do this long term? And I knew that the marketing side of that business was my favorite part of it. And so I pivoted and went, actually, I want to dive into this, and learned more, lots of professional development, started working with other dance studios. And that has just become my thing now. I love it. I love marketing. I particularly love marketing in an industry that I feel like hasn't had the support it's needed. So one of the things I often say is I want to be the person I wish I had access to as a young studio owner. So yeah, that's kind of brought me to where I am now, where I just want to be able to provide solutions to dance studio owners to meet their marketing problems.
Yeah, because I don't know, you can tell me, but it's quite niche in the way that we have to do our marketing. Would you agree with that? Or is it pretty generalized?
No, absolutely. So there are always general principles, but a marketing agency that doesn't understand the dance industry won't work for dance studios, because they just don't understand the nuances of seasons, of the fact that you can have 4 dance studios in a very close area and they're all very different businesses with very different target audiences, and often very different offerings. So understanding all of the nuances around the dance industry, I think, is really important to getting that marketing piece right.
Yeah, yeah. And you've hit the nail on the head, that whole, it is such a small area, we can have so many studios, but they are so different. And I think too, and I'm very grateful for the information that we can get online and we can search for ourselves, but having just that the brain and the knowledge of the industry behind the marketing can just be so much more powerful. And I think that's where those studios in a big mass stand out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think whilst, like, in this age, in the internet age, you can Google so much and get so much information. I'm always doing professional development, but I'm always putting a lens on it. How does this actually apply to the dance industry? Can I actually use this new trend, new fad, new way of doing things to actually push dance studios further? And sometimes, yes, I can, and sometimes I can't. So you can see successful dance studios grabbing the things that work and really running with it. But there is so much to a dance studio that sometimes you can get a little bit lost in the weeds of all the things going on too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's why it resonates for me, because I'm that person. And as studio owners, we have so many things we're trying to keep across, constantly learning, new platforms, new technology. So yeah, that's one of the things for myself that I definitely find hard, and the importance of having to track it and looking at the metrics. I think again, it's time consuming. What would be some of the metrics that studio owners should be looking at or tracking to see the success of their effort?
Yeah, look, I often say I'm a data nerd. I love the stats, because I think like the old saying goes, you can't manage what you're not measuring, right? So I'm a big believer in that. And you'll often see content from other marketing providers saying, don't worry about vanity metrics, don't worry about likes and followers. But depending on the season of your business, that the likes, the followers, the impressions, the reach, what are often known as vanity metrics, are actually how you know if you're reaching anyone. So if you're a new studio owner or you're new to social media, those metrics actually matter, because if you're not reaching anyone, then there's kind of no point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So depending on the season of your business will depend on the data you need to track. So if you're early or new to social media, or you've had a big break. So you haven't done anything for a while and you're trying to revive a social media account, then those base level metrics matter. The likes, the follows, the comments, is anyone seeing my content? Is anyone engaging with it? Are they clicking through to somewhere? Like, really, our social media content wants to drive people through their customer journey to eventually buy from us. But also we want to make sure we're providing content that nurtures our audience and builds relationships and rapport and establishes our authority. So it's really checking in on, are people noticing what I'm saying? Are they reacting to what I'm saying? And then as you start presenting offers and what your studio is about, you then want to track, are they actually following through and buying from me? And if you're running ads, there's a whole other set of stats that you want to be following to check if your image is doing the right thing, if your copy, your words are doing the right thing, if your link is sending people to the right place. So the data can be quite specific depending on what season of your business you're in and also what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Yep. It is just as complicated as I thought. Excellent.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's so good. So are there any particular platforms that studio owners you would suggest that they are 100% on or, should be looking at starting?
Yeah, look, I'm a big believer in not saying this is what everyone should do, because again, I know dance studios well enough to know there's not a one size fits all approach to anyone. What I will say is, I think a kind of blanket rule is pick one and nail that one first. So sometimes I get studio owners coming to me saying, look, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm in all the places, but I can't manage it. And I'm like, no kidding, you can't manage it. That's a lot. So I'm very much pick one where you know your people are, nail that, and then add another. And that it depends, again, on the type of business, the type of studio, type of area you're in. What I find is parents of a certain age group, certain demographic, Facebook is great. If you're trying to attract older kids, so maybe that full-time realm, Instagram, you kind of can't go past. If you're creating a lot of video content, you can't go past TikTok, but you have to know that you have to be doing it regularly. Otherwise, you'll disappear very quickly. So TikTok and YouTube, if you're producing a lot of video content, like gold standard platforms to choose. But if you go on a hiatus for 3 months, it's almost like starting over. So you have to know that you can consistently be publishing content on those platforms.
Yeah, so true. So true. So is there anything at the moment that's, really trending or working well that you could share with us?
Yeah, so this might be an unpopular opinion, but for me, what will always work well is a great offer. So regardless of what platform you're on, regardless of what content you're putting into the world, if you don't have something that is a no-brainer for your customers, then it kind of doesn't matter. Like, what you really want is something where people see what you have to offer and it's an immediate, oh, well, of course, I'll go there and I'll try that or I'll buy that. Beyond that, really understanding that there is content for different parts of your funnel. So you have your top of funnel people who know nothing about you. You have your middle of funnel people who probably know that dance is a great solution to a problem they have, but they may not know about your business. And then you have bottom of funnel people who know about you, love you, and are ready to buy from you. And what's really important is making sure that you have content that addresses those three sets of people. And often I see dance studio owners who are all about the bottom of funnel. This is what we're doing, this is what we're selling, this is what we're doing, this is what we're selling. And that's their content kind of on repeat, which is great for people who know, like, and trust you. Doesn't help for people who know nothing about you or don't know that dance is a great solution to creating confidence and getting kids school ready and all the amazing benefits of dance. So making sure we're educating people about that on social media is also really important.
Yeah. So for a studio owner that doesn't have support, we're about to go into what you do to actually help support studio owners. For those who don't have support or a senior student helping them or an admin assistant, what do you recommend that they focus on first and foremost?
Yeah. So kind of like what I said before, simplify. So pick one platform. That would be where I would start. And then figure out what you can do to be consistent. So if consistency looks like one post a week, then it's one post a week. If you want to set a goal and you're like, right, that's it, we're posting every day, that's great. But if that's not sustainable, don't set that goal. So I'm very much pick what is doable for your business and start there, nail that. And then if the setup you have, and this is the case for many studios, is that you have maybe a senior student helping you out or an admin assistant helping you out, and they're helping you with your social media, which is very common. And let's face it, for a dance studio owner, we have so much going on that any help is great. Then it's really about focusing on maybe 2 or 3 things, having keywords in our content. And when I say keywords, I don't mean hashtags. I mean the words that someone would put into Google to find your business. So dance classes, dance lessons, ballet lessons, toddler dance, if preschool dance is part of your program, adult dance classes, if that's what you offer. So making sure those kinds of keywords are in your social media profiles, are in your content, because more and more people use social media like a search engine, and you want them to be able to find you and find your business. So setting up your content to have those keywords is fundamental. Beyond that, making sure that you have a great call to action in all of your content, which doesn't always mean click a link or buy my stuff. Sometimes it's drop a heart in the comments if you agree with this, or tag someone who needs to know about this, amazing thing we've got going on. Why that's important is if someone drops a heart or makes a comment, or it might be a meet the team post, and you say, let the teacher know down below if you love what they do. And when someone does that, their friends see that they've commented on that post. So you're creating a wider network of people who know about your business when you build up the engagement on your content. So those 3 things are keywords in your content, a call to action, and then boosting the engagement. That's kind of the top 3 things to focus on. And then, of course, consistency, but however that looks like for your business.
Yeah, I love that. That's really helpful. Going back to the keywords,
Yeah.
So obviously in the bio, you suggest putting, like, especially if you're doing preschool dance or adult dance, putting something in there. Do you also suggest doing it in the copy, so the text, as well as if you're doing designs, put it on there, or videos, put it in with your dialogue, or so the captions pick it up? Is that?
Yeah, so it won't really pick it up in the image.
Okay.
And really, you want minimal text on your image anyway. For an image to be useful, you want it to really stand out with great photos. So limited text in the image, but definitely in your bio, so the About Us section, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you have a section that's about your business, that's where you want to use keywords. Also, on Facebook, for example, in your banner image and your profile image, you can put a description on those images. So making sure your keywords are in there really help. And then, in the caption of every content, whether it's a video, photo, whether you're sharing a video from somewhere else, making sure your keywords are in those captions too is really, really important.
That's really valuable information, because we hear about SEO for our websites, but there isn't much being said about that type of keyword. Now, you spend your time working with studio owners. Can you give us a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 2 main programs. I have a done for you and a do it yourself. So my done for you program is where I do everything. I make sure the back end of Meta is set up, and that's your Meta Business Suite, your business manager, your ads manager, your events manager, all the things that when often studio owners and I talk about it, they don't even know they exist. But the setup of those is really important, especially if you want to do paid advertising on social media. And to be honest, most studios are doing Facebook and Instagram. So that's really where I focus. And then beyond that, I really work on their Google business profile. So this is something that I know a lot of business owners don't pay enough attention to, but making sure a Google business profile is really optimized, that all the sections are filled out, again, that you're using keywords, and you can actually post content the same way that you would on social media on your Google business profile, which means there are more places for you to get found. It's also fundamental to be getting reviews on your Google business profile. You'd be amazed at how many people go and check your reviews to find out whether you're a good business or not, or what other people think. So I kind of do all of that. I do all of your content. I do all of your keywords. That's a full done for you package. And then on the flip side, the do-it-yourself service is a membership. It's $47 a month. It won't ever go up from that. So it's quite an affordable option. And it gives you training. So lots of self-paced video training, depending on where you are and what you want to learn. Tons of templates. So all the social media templates you could possibly imagine. Branding bundles. There's AI images. So I know a lot of dance studios have really gone deep on child protection and don't want to use photos of their own students. So I'm all about, well, then how do we create a solution for that? So I create a lot of AI images, and as the tools for doing that are getting better, we're getting better results. The early ones were not great. So
Yes. I've seen some doozies.
Yeah, we're getting better results as we go through it. So I create a library and I keep adding to that within that membership as well, so that people have access to those images if they don't want to use images of their own students. And then my members often ask for things, which results in me creating more for the membership. So, for example, before we were just talking about search, I'm just about to release a mini solution called the Get Discovered social media method, which is all about optimizing your social media profiles for search. My members get that free, but it's a mini solution that then is available to any other studio owner who wants to focus on that. And then anytime I release something like that, the members get that for free. So that's just a perk of the membership as well.
Well, that sounds really interesting. Can you tell us more about that little offer?
Yeah, sure. So it's called the Get Discovered social media method for dance studios. And it looks at kind of three main elements. So it looks at optimizing your social media profiles, kind of like we were talking about before, making sure you've got great keywords, knowing how to make the most out of your Instagram bio, for example, knowing how to put together a link tree or a link in bio that can help particularly on Instagram, where links don't work in captions. And you'd be amazed how many dance studios are still sharing the same captions on Facebook and Instagram, even though the links don't work on Instagram. So it's making sure that you're optimizing for the platform you're on. And then the next section of that program is all about making sure that you're using great images, great text, how to get keywords in your captions. And then we also look at local search targeting, how to use location words, how to make sure that you're using hashtags correctly, all of those things that will help you get found on social media.
Perfect. So if our studio owners who are listening are interested in that, how do they reach out to you? How can they contact you about that?
Yeah, sure. So SP Digital Marketing is my business name, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and the links to that new program will be on there, and it also on my website. But if anyone ever has any questions, I'm also really happy to help in any way I can. And my email is support@spdigitalmarketing.com.
Beautiful. And I'll also put that link down in the show notes as well, so everyone can click there if they would like that as well. That information is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing.